everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Deep Thoughts. And today we're talking about Vinland Saga, episode 11, A Gamble. Before we do though, I want to quickly remind you guys that if you would like to have your name shouted out in next week's Vinland Saga video, then be sure to share this video around on the internet and then tag me at JoJo Talks Too Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout you out in next week's Vinland Saga video. Now, with that said, we got three things we gotta talk about this week. We gotta talk about that caravan conversation, we gotta talk about that awful ambush, and then we gotta talk about Prince Canut's recapture. Again, this poor dude. Let's go ahead and start with the caravan conversation, which I thoroughly enjoyed, though talking about it is gonna be, a little nerve-wracking because it involves religion, everybody's favorite topic. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by pointing out that Thorkell is probably my new favorite character in the show. Like, tell me he's not the most entertaining character to watch on screen. Like, you can't even, you just can't tell me otherwise. Like, he is, without a doubt, the most entertaining character in the show thus far. Ashlad, or Asklad, whatever you want to say, is most definitely the most interesting, whereas Thorkell is easily... I don't know why I spaced it out. Thorkell is obviously the most fun character to watch on screen. He's just a blast. He reminds me an awful lot of Majima from the Yakuza series, where he's not the main character. He's usually more like off doing his own thing, though he does tie into the overall story, and he does have a deep connection with the protagonist. But his anything with him in it is usually the more fun, lighthearted, but still entertaining and hype moments of the story. And that's how I feel about Thorkell. He is easily the most fun character to watch on screen. He is sort of like stock. He's sort of like the big giant who is always happy for combat, and he wants a happy entry into Valhalla. Like, that is who Thorkell is. But in being that, he is so fun to watch on screen. And his Seiyu, I swear, even his Seiyu reminds me of Majima. Like, he just carries that sort of like zany, like, we're gonna do this, are we? That's sort of like the lilt in his voice, like the tone in his voice is very like excitable and fun, and he just wants a good fight. And because of that, he is a blast anytime he gets to be on screen. I adore Thorkell. And the conversation that Thorkell and his men have with Prince Canut and Ragnar and the priest, who I will get into later, is fun. I don't know how I'm going to talk about this without it getting like dicey, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh, this gonna be fun to talk about in the video. And the topic being Christianity versus Norse mythology, and which one is better, and is Jesus scrawny? Yeah, I'm already uncomfortable. I don't know how do I broach this without upsetting anyone? I guess the easy answer is just not to talk about it, but the scene is so friggin' funny, how do I not talk about it? It just has this sort of jubilant tone to it. Like, it's not necessarily like insulting, at least I can't see it being insulting. I feel like it's just sort of a fun tone. Like yeah, they take shots at my boy JC, but like, I don't know. I'm not a very religious dude, so I don't really care. I was raised in a Catholic school, so there's a lot of Christianity influence in my upbringing, but at the same time, I'm not very religious, so this whole thing didn't really offend me, although I can imagine if somebody were to be super religious, I still don't see this really offending them, since these characters are very clearly, like, they're Norse, like, they grew up in a totally different environment with a totally different mythology and religion, quote unquote, because like to most Norsemen, like, heaven is you have to earn your way in there, not through good deeds, but through battle and war and being a warrior. Like, it's a totally different vibe. So I don't necessarily imagine people getting offended by this. I think if anything, it's a good laugh. I had fun with it. Touchy subjects are fun, aren't they? But let's have a good laugh with the priest, aka Reverend Swanson from Red Dead Redemption 2. Tell me that is not the priest, because I swear as soon as they introduce him and he's just like, I see him, I see God bestow your love upon me, and he just loses his mind. And then they're like, get him a drink, get this man a drink. I was like, that's Reverend Swanson. That is Reverend Swanson. Although Reverend Swanson came out afterwards, I believe. I don't know how long the manga's been running, but so would Reverend Swanson be a ripoff of this guy? I believe so. That's interesting. Not that one actually ripped off the other, it's just a happy coincidence, obviously. But like, man, interesting. Food for thought. We have Reverend Swanson in this story now. I'm pretty okay with that. I really like Reverend Swanson, so I'm like down for this. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the awful ambush. And when I say awful, I don't mean that it was executed poorly. Well, I do mean that, but I don't mean the show executed it poorly. I mean Ragnar's people executed that poorly. I don't know what in the Sam Hill they were thinking. I just said Sam Hill, wow. I don't know why I said that. I truly don't understand the logic behind what they did. I mean, I do get it, but like, you had to know that wasn't gonna work. All Thorkel wants is a good fight. Why did you think like trying to ambush him was ever gonna work? Of course he was gonna try to attack you. Although, to be fair, Ragnar is smart, and typically the smartest person in the room whenever he's around, or maybe not the smartest, but the most reasonable. Because like Ragnar has a point, right? Like when his men show up, and they're like, we're here for the prince and Ragnar and the priest, just give them to us and we'll let you go. You are surrounded, so just give us the prince and it's all good. And Thorkel's like, sure. You can have him. It would sure suck if I left here without a fight, though. Bunch of lame-ass warriors you got. And it's obviously, he's obviously trying to get under their skin to make them, like, want to fight them. And it starts to work. The one dude's just like, if we leave now, like, these guys aren't even afraid of capture. They're not afraid of a fight at all. If we leave now, we'll be cowards. We won't be warriors. And Thorkel is using that to his advantage. Like, the man, for as much of a brute as he is just like Majima, he can play them mind games. Like, he makes you think he's just a brute, but he can easily play mind games with you. And again, makes the dude friggin' entertaining. And again, Ragnar is the most reasonable dude in the room, or the woods in this case, because he has a point. Sometimes retreat is a valid option in battle. There's nothing cowardly about a retreat. Sometimes it's just strategic as hell to be like, okay, this ain't going well for us, but we can always come back and fight another day. If I may borrow a quote, it is not retreating, it's just advancing in another direction. But alas, Ragnar's men don't listen to that sound advice. Ragnar, again, for as reasonable as he is, this man is a lousy leader. Like, I'm talking lousy. And I really don't think Ragnar's long for this story. But I will get to that once we get to the third part of the episode that I want to talk about. For this part, I want to point out that we are blessed with another dope fight scene. Like another battle scene that is just, like, damn, Wit. I can only take so much. Wit Studios, like when they want to bring the thunder, they bring the thunder. It's not the most amazing fight we've gotten out of the show, don't get me wrong. But under any other team, this could have been such a throwaway moment, right? Like, they could have just been like, oh, because really what happens is Ragnar's people get totally destroyed by Thorkel's people. Thorkel's people get put on the back burner when Askeladd shows up, and then Askeladd's men take the prince. Like, you could have easily handled that in a couple minutes, but no. They use this moment to show us some good fight scenes because they know why we're here, and then they also keep it entertaining by having Thorkel around, having Bjorn actually call out Askeladd, having like moments of character beat, like proper character beats within the action. I love that. And actually, before I forget, let's go ahead and point out that Bjorn actually calls out Askeladd. He calls out my boy Askeladd by pointing out that Thorfinn and him actually have more of a bond than he's willing to admit. And Askeladd, for his money, is just like, no, that's ridiculous. I don't know what you're talking about. But Bjorn's like, Askeladd, come on, man. I'm on to you, man. Like, you ain't hiding anything from anybody. Like, you ain't even good at this. You like him. You care about the boy. You care about the boy. Boy. And finally, let's go ahead and talk about Prince Canute. I'm gonna say Canute, but I am willing to be corrected on this one. Prince Canute's capture recapture in this case, is, again, another fun moment where Thorfinn immediately is sick of his stuff. Like, immediately like, I wish I wasn't here. Like, the poor kid is just like, I'm being sent on a wild goose chase just so I can have a chance to fight Askeladd again. But this moment actually delivers some happy payoff in something that I thought we wouldn't actually see for a while, we actually get the connection between Thorkel and Thorfinn revealed. And Thorfinn is genuinely put on his heels by this information. Like, it actually throws him off, the idea that his dad has allies out there who know him. And Thorkel even says, like, Thor's was the only man in existence stronger than me. And it makes Thorkel's own people be like, oh damn, this kid is the son of the troll? Like, what is this? And they're actually, like, some of them are even saying, like, he don't look like his dad. But they do, like, step back. Like, they are like, okay, all right. And Thorkel even says, like, hey man, tell you what, I will let you have this. You can take care of the prince for me, but this isn't over. And we are gonna meet on the battlefield, so you better be prepared for me. And it's not like in an angry way, it's him being like excited, like, yeah, we're gonna fight again. We're gonna have another fight, you and I, and it's gonna be glorious. And it's like, dang, I love Thorkel, and I love Thorfinn. And I like that Thorfinn actually has, like, Thorfinn's like aware that there's people who know his dad. And he doesn't, I don't know if he even explained like, or if Thorkel's even, Thorkel couldn't be aware that Thor's is dead. At least I don't imagine he is. Maybe he is, maybe I missed that, but like, yeah, I really can't wait to see these two cross paths again. And then Thorfinn just kind of takes the prince and the episode ends, and it's a good ending. I will say that Ragnar, like, calling out Askeladd, being like, hey, Askeladd, like your men and your plan was reckless and you got my men hurt and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, he saved you. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, mind you, he doesn't know that it's a total double cross, but like, hey, he saved you as far as you're concerned. So I was like, a little like, man, back off. But at the same time, I'm betting next episode even, Askeladd is gonna kill Ragnar, like, point blank. It's just gonna happen. Ragnar, I don't see living for very much longer. He's just sort of gonna get in the way, and Askeladd's not gonna have any of that. But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts, guys. Honestly, I'm giving this one a strong A-tier episode. This is an A-tier episode. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. But hey, before I take off, everybody, as always, I have to give a big shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, namely those in the Earl Grey tier: Calvin Atkinson, Crowbar of Irony, Dominic, Urza, Ginkotaku, No For Nothing, Maria Teresa, Mirth Mouser, Nye, Omner Garamond, Cell, Shadow Creative, Sipco Games, Somastan, Steven, Tristan, and Verdon. Thank you all so much for your continued support over on Patreon. It is super appreciated, and if you too would like to join the T Squadron, then by all means go ahead and check out the first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, see all the cool rewards you can get over there, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive Discord. But on that note, everybody, that's gonna be a video, so I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then you've probably been on the internet long enough to know what to do already, so I ain't gonna tell you, but I will say that it is appreciated. And if you're feeling stressed out today, you go have yourself a warm cup of tea, and I will talk to you all again real soon.